All right. Now, when you talked about like working in food service, um, you're trying to balance a quote unquote real job and then do the acting, trying to break into that. How does scheduling work in someone's life that's trying to do that when you're trying to do the everyday job and then you've got something else that comes up and that's your passion. How do you work that out? How do you maintain one job while you're trying to break into acting?
Oh, that you know what? That is the biggest fear. You talking about schedule, like something coming up when you're supposed to be at work. Uh, I can tell you the typical day that I've had for many years is wake up, uh, go to auditions if I have them, try to work out in between to stay in shape, and then go straight from auditions to work the whole night, go to sleep and do that all over again. It really is a all day job, but we're not really working. So people think, you're just you got your whole day free. You know what? I have to keep my whole day free because you can't say no to any audition. If you say no to an audition to your agent, they're like, well, what am I spending this time trying to get you out for? Um, and it really is just being. You got to be nice to everybody, especially the people your food service job, your real job. Um, be nice to the managers and try to. I always tried to work at a place where there was a lot of people doing my same job. I've been a bartender, I've been a waiter, and so if you have short shifts and a lot of people working, that hopefully you have those people who always want to work. You can call them and switch very quickly. I was actually on the set of Transformers once, and a girl called me. I was working at Chin Chin on Sunset at the time, and she was like, "Hey Don, do you not want your shift for tomorrow or later tonight?" I was like, "Holy crap, I have to work tonight." And so I was like, "No, go ahead and take that, thanks." And as a result of that, I just missed too many days, and I did okay off the money for that, so that's helped me out for a while. So I was able to quit that job, but uh, man, you really have to be fast with the phone and with the email and with scheduling.
Okay. All right. And I guess if you're gonna to break into that field anywhere, you got to do it in L.A.
Um, yeah, I was in New York for 2 years, and I was doing a lot of theater, a lot of off Broadway, and when I'd go to the casting offices for like the big shows or just to meet agents. I didn't have an agent in New York. They would just say, "Dude, what are you doing here? You don't sing, you don't dance. Get out there to LA." Um, I think a lot of people respect New York theater, but to make a living and to earn money as an actor, you got to be in Los Angeles. Um, I actually that's why I love Los Angeles so much is because when I moved here, I started getting paid to be an actor, and it was absolutely amazing.
Sure. Sure. Okay. All right. Now, coming up to the what is the near future here? This little movie you're in, small budget film called Transformers. Um,
Yeah.
you're not playing just. It's not only one of the most prolific individuals in U.S. history, but world history. Neil Armstrong, first man on the moon. And Transformers obviously isn't nonfiction, but brings very true historic aspects into this next movie. How much research did you have to do, or were you instructed to do, or did you take on yourself to play Neil Armstrong?
That's a very fun. I wasn't instructed to do any research. I was just told you're playing Neil Armstrong. You're going to be on set at this date. We had a fitting for the costumes, but that was about it. Um, and so he is just the most amazing guy. Um,
Did
and
you,
I wanted to do him justice. I know by no means am I ever going to come close to as amazing as he was in his entire life. And I'm so grateful that I get to play someone and kind of ride the coattails of their incredible success. But I watched every bit of video I could get off YouTube about the moon landings, which is it's kind of funny because there's a lot of conspiracy theory stuff out there, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, I can't have a shadow of a doubt in my mind. Not that I ever really believed it, but I didn't want it, coming up like in my mind while I was on set. I
sure.
finally happened upon Mythbusters, and they debunked all the conspiracy theories, and that was a big help to me. But I also, when we got to see the costumes about 2 weeks before we went on set, and they weigh about 50 pounds. They're really heavy and really constricting. And so I actually started to do a lot of heavy weight training, a lot of squats, deadlifts, just to like thinking I got to make the suit weigh as little as possible. And also, they're really hot because it's just layers and layers of material. And we were sweating just standing in them for the fitting. So I started going to the sauna in my gym a lot just to get used to that extreme heat and sweating it out. And then lastly, I started running. We have an Olympic pool at LA Fitness, and I did running in the pool just to kind of get used to or see how my body would react in a sort of weightless environment, and then to recreate that on land. And I went to the Space Museum, which was just amazing because to get that close to all those actual objects that went up into space and to see how cramped and tight in one of the orbiters, they had one of the orbiters there, it really was like they were sitting in movie seats all the way to the moon, just side by side, three of them in this small little orbiter. It's absolutely crazy when you think how cramped they were, and even getting in and out of the orbiter to get into the lander, just absolutely amazing. So,
when
that was all the reason.
so when you're going through that, I mean, does the I mean, obviously, at some point on the set, you have to be like, oh my God, I'm going to be in the next Transformers movie. From what you just described and mentioning like what those guys went through, the astronauts and the conditions they were in, did the whole like wow factor subside for a moment, and it sounds like a greater appreciation grew for what they went through.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. For me, it was even in the audition, I started to think about, because you go over the objectives. I mean, the obstacles to achieving your objective. And I started to think about how far away they actually were. They were traveling for, I don't want to get this wrong, but I'll say around 3 days in the orbiter, and that's just you're going away from Earth in a small space shuttle for 3 days, and then you got to get in another little smaller one, go down to the moon surface, which you haven't done before, and they almost crashed like into a crater on the moon surface, and then think about finding something else, and then getting back up. It just the sheer trying to hold on to that, and then also, oh my God, Michael Bay is on set here, and he's directing me, speaking directly to me. But what was amazing, the wow factor too, is that the sets were so real. It was amazing. They had a guy specifically for dirt. All he did was scatter dirt, and when we walked back, he would make sure to erase our footprints and then scatter more dirt. And the moon set was real. That was real. Halfway up, the ship that you saw was absolutely real. Inside the ship was real. These guys with their special effects nowadays is absolutely amazing. So it wasn't that hard to think, wow, I'm in an alien environment when most of it around you up to the waist is really there. So that was really cool.
All right, great. Okay, and you mentioned Michael Bay. Something I had to ask you. He seems to have obtained a reputation of a bit of a drill instructor on the set of his films. Did you see that from him, and what was it like acting in his environment?
I actually had a really awesome experience, I think, right when we started, because we started on the first day of shooting for the film as a whole. And I got on set and somebody goes, I need an astronaut hand. Give me an astronaut. Bring an astronaut over here. And I run over and I'm like, okay. And Michael Bay's, he's getting the cinematographer to get close-ups of the camera on our chest. And he said, start fidgeting with this. And then he kind of started to razz the cinematographer a little bit. And they started to laugh and I started to laugh because the cinematographer was having a hard time getting the shot. And so I feel like it kind of, of course I'm going to laugh at anything he says, and so I feel like our rapport kind of, not that he went, oh, this guy is cool, but, he kind of, all right, he's all right. But I just found him, it's a incredibly large budget, and he's got, if you saw all the people on this set, I just think if you've got to wrangle all these people and get them to do exactly what you want them to, you're going to talk kind of fast and quick and be a little intense about getting done what you want to get done. I just saw him as a guy who thinks who's who understands action films so well that he just he just talks so intensely about it because he understands it so well and he knows exactly what he wants to do. Um, so he's really cool. I'm not sure if it was because he's gotten the bad press of the past, but I kind of found him to be pretty cool on set.